Hello there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Awakening Collective podcast. I am Hayley, and thank you for joining me wherever you are listening to this. Today, we're talking about energy maintenance and how to clear your energy field and protect and raise your vibration on a daily basis. So, this has been a great week. It's been so much fun. I kicked off the 3-part Intuition Circle series, and it was so beautiful to have some lovely like-minded women in space together. And if you haven't registered yet, I'll put the link in below. Join us for the next one. There's 2 left. It would be wonderful to have you there. And the energy of that circle was beautiful, and being in that space has really helped to raise my vibration this week. I know it helped to clear out a lot of energy from others. And some of that we're going to just go into a little bit today. So, being a mum in my life, energy is really important. And if you are in a busy work environment, then if you've got busy stuff going on at home, if you've got busy family stuff, we do take on a lot energetically, and we've never been taught how to kind of process any of it properly. And when we're in this awakening and healing journey, and we really want to be tapping into that intuition, because for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I believe that our intuition and that connection to spirit is the key to guide us through our awakening with more ease and more flow. And if our energy is off and our energy isn't kind of working at its highest, it's going to be very difficult for us to really listen into that intuition and to hear messages from spirit, because everything's so clogged up. And like I was saying, being a mum, 2 teenage boys and an 11-year-old girl who can hold her own because she has 2 older teenage brothers, there's a lot of energy that goes on in this house, and a lot of big energy. And it's so important for me every day to, first thing in the morning, I go for my forest walk and I come back here and I sit and make sure that I clear out my energy field. And it's also really great to learn techniques that you can use in the moment, right? Because we want to keep our energy field as sovereign as possible. We want to be able to hold our energy field as much as we can without sort of getting sucked into drama everywhere and sucked into other people's energy, so that we can maintain our own energy field and sort the situation out properly. Because for those of you who do have kids, you know how easy it is once they start fighting with each other, or once a tantrum starts, to kind of get sucked into that energy, and you find yourself getting frustrated and angry rather than being able to hold your own space to help calm and diffuse the situation. And so that's what we're talking about today. So we're going to dive into energy maintenance, why it may be that you feel so drained, how you can stay clear and grounded. And I'm going to just guide you through a really short and quick meditation that you can do. It's a really quick sort of energetic reset that you can do in the morning, in the afternoon, whenever it is you feel you need it. And I really highly encourage you to start really tapping into and feeling into your own energy during the day, especially if, which we'll talk about in a minute, if all of a sudden your mood changes, or, like this drama starts happening and going on. So first of all, what is your energy field? So let's go down to like the simplest thing and just think about your aura. So there's energy all throughout your body, all throughout your cells, all throughout your physical body and your organs, that moves out through that physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual body. And so sort of think of it as like your energetic bubble, and this gets affected in different ways. There's so many levels and layers to it. It's a very intricate and complicated, you can look at your energy field as well in terms of chakras and Merkabas. And so there's lots of different levels and layers. But if you just think of it for now, think of your aura, think of those chakras, think of like your own energetic bubble that moves all through into your cells. Like I said, moving through those, that physical, emotional, mental, spiritual bodies. And so like I was saying before, if we have leaks going on, if we've got projections coming into our field, it can be really, really hard for us to gain a center. And that's how we easily get sucked into other people's drama, sucked into stuff on social media. We need to really learn to take a breath and gain center, because then it's also really hard when you get caught up in all of that to, like I said, really hone into your own intuition, what your own feelings are, what your own beliefs are, what your own thoughts are. So it can really disrupt the messages and information, which can then also make it hard to, like I said, actually be the positive light in a situation, or to help you make the choices in your life that you need to make. So what are the sort of things that affect our energy? So we've got other people's emotions. So again, if you live in a household with kids, if you've got a high stressful workplace, all of that. I mean, gosh, if you're a nurse, you should be, if you work in that kind of field, aged care, or anything to do with um, like sort of family law and fostering, all that sort of stuff, this is something that you should be doing very, very often, because you get all other people's emotions on you and projected at you. So that's one thing that's really going to affect your energy field. Also, psychic attacks, which we don't think about. We always assume, a lot of people assume that psychic attacks is just something that happens from beings that are not on this plane, that psychic attacks come from, the beings that are trying to disrupt the planet at the moment and all that kind of thing. But if, let's say, I'm having a fight with somebody down the road, they've said something that's really upset me, and I turn around and go, oh my God, the cow, I hope, blah, 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 whatever. That's actually a psychic attack. That is shooting, that energy from me is shooting straight into that person's energy field and giving her a psychic attack. And so we do get that onto us. We do accidentally do that to other people. And if you do find yourself doing that, just call it straight back. Say, oops, sorry, all of me come back to me. I bring all of that back to me in my own energy field, so that we're not putting that on somebody else. So we do need to be very careful about that. And those are the kind of things that can affect our energy. Big, huge one, our own unprocessed emotions. When we're avoiding emotions, when we're avoiding the feeling because we don't have time to feel it, or we just don't want to. This is something that we've all been taught to do, but it's something that we really, really need to learn to stop doing. And you need to feel your own emotions as often as possible, as much as possible, not just for your own emotional well-being, but your mental well-being, your physical well-being. And I know that it's hard. Like especially like I said, in those families where you may have been taught to be very hard about your emotions and being emotionally silly and all of those things. So starting to clear out those beliefs so that you can actually process your own emotions, because that is going to drain you a lot and make you very, very tired. Social media and the news. There's a lot going on the planet at the moment. And I know that if you're here, you've probably gone through that awakening journey. And so the stuff that's going on. But be very careful of how you're plugging into certain situations. It's okay to know what's going on in the world, have your opinion. But if you're scrolling through and there's, they love creating duality. And if you're go into a post where it's like us versus them, this versus that, and people are projecting out anger, and you're reading that, you are taking that into your field. And, if you sit and read through a post and you read through 40 to 50 comments of people projecting anger and all of this stuff, you're taking that into your field. So be very, very careful. And again, I have when I talk about this, I just want to say it's not that we don't care, but the other thing that I'm just going to quickly sidebar to, if we want to create a world of unity, if we want to live in that fifth dimensional frequency where unity is a huge part of that, we can't be us versus them, this versus that. Yeah, we need to be able to stand back, look at the whole spiritual picture. Yes, you can have an opinion on what you think is, what sits best with your truth. But in becoming an us versus them and getting angry, that's just feeding the crappier timeline. So we want to be really, really careful about what we're reading, what we're taking on from it. And I suggest doing a huge audit of your social media, because if you're getting off social media and you're angry or upset or sad or these people and this people and which I get, because the world's a crazy place, but we need to start with us. If we're going to change the way the world is, it starts within us. And the more we're feeding into that timeline by doing that, we're not changing anything, right? And again, it's not about not caring. Like, yeah, it's a whole process, but we're not going into that today. But anyway, watch your social media and the news. Past lives can be draining us and affecting the way that we're showing up. So energy from that, from our beliefs and those negative beliefs and those negative thoughts, that sort of stuff drains our energy too. We've got energetic cords. Everybody we meet and have an interaction with, we create a cord. Some of those are happy and beautiful, and some of them are very draining and not so great. So we want to be learning how to maintain that. Then you've got planetary stuff. You've got, moon cycles, eclipses. You've got where the planets are right now. You've got your own chart and what's going on in that. And, all the astrological stuff. So that can be draining. Those are kind of cycles we just sort of have to kind of move through. But if we learn how to check in and go, oh, what is this? Oh, there's a full moon, so it's probably that. You can sort of go, okay, and breathe into it and go, what's it bringing up for me? And you can start asking questions. But we'll talk about that again in a minute. You've got expectations and projections from other people and from yourself. And when you put on those, especially those expectations, that leaks a lot of energy and causes a lot of disruption in your energy. We've got different timelines and trajectories that you open. So every time you think, oh, I'll go do that, or I'll go do that, or what if this, or what if that, it opens a timeline and a trajectory that you could possibly be going down. So, you've got all of this stuff that's starting to shoot energy down there going, okay, well, which way is she going to go? Or yeah, even if it's things like, you open a trajectory because you're going through your to-do list. Okay, I've got to do the laundry, then I've got to go do this, then I've got to go do that, and then this has to be done. That's all trajectories open that are kind of taking your time and your energy, taking your energy from you. And one thing that, I just also want to mention, sometimes we get drained because it's not necessarily draining, it's more of an overwhelm when we call in way too many guides. And I know this sounds silly and some people probably might not agree with me on this, but sometimes I think the more we sit and bring in more guides and more angels and invite every man and his dog into our meditation or into our space, it can be a bit overwhelming and a bit too much for our energy. So just be aware of that too. So what are some of the signs that our energy needs clearing? So mood swings. Let's not always blame the menopause and the perimenopause, ladies. Sometimes our mood swings and emotional overwhelm come because you've been sitting at your desk and somebody's walked past because they've just had an interaction with somebody over the other side of the office. They walk past your desk and go, tool, and then all of a sudden you get in this grumpy mood because they've sort of projected their anger at you, and all of a sudden you're angry and you're like, don't know why, and you blame menopause and you whatever, and really it's just because it was somebody else. So if you get different mood swings, sometimes emotional overwhelm, fatigue, just kind of feeling really drained and having no energy, and some of you will notice it when you've been in a situation where maybe a friend or a family member is in not such a great place and they've come to you for support, which is beautiful, and you want to be there for that. But sometimes afterwards, you feel kind of drained and low, and that's okay. Doing this is going to help you. Doing what we're going to go through in a minute is going to help you after a situation like that, because we do want to be there for our friends and family. But I'm just trying to give an example of what that fatigue and having no energy feels like after you've been in sort of more of an emotional, energetic situation. Disconnection from your intuition and from spirit is a sign that you can be a bit drained. Attracting chaos and misaligned energy, because there's stuff going on in your field that doesn't belong to you. And the energy that we're in and the energy that we project, the energy that we're speaking in is the energy that we attract. So we want to just make sure that we're attracting our stuff and not attracting stuff because we're caught up in other things that don't belong to us. And do you feel like you want to run off and shut yourself in a quiet little space and not talk to anyone for 24 to 48 hours? That's just huge energetic overwhelm, just needing your space, needing to find your own thoughts, because you just feel like you feel off. You feel like nothing within you is yours and you just need that space. I'm like a huge space person. If I don't get my space daily, That's why I go for my forest walk in the morning, because it's just me and, openness and beautiful grounding, and it just allows me to just find what's mine. So yes, that is a few ways that you might feel a few ways that your energy field might need, or signs, that your energy field might need clearing. So, how do we maintain and protect this energy daily? How do we help to keep our vibration high and um, firing on as many cylinders as we can? And this isn't going to happen. We all have our days. We're going through our awakening. We're going through healing. We're going through the craziness that's going on the planet. In the last year, the energy from planetary alignment and moon cycles and eclipses has been massive. So that's always, we can't run from it. But when we know how to allow ourselves to move through it gracefully, that's all we can ask, for ourselves to maintain. And I don't really like the word protection, but for those of you who out there who, not associate with that word, but, use that word to protect that energy. And so let's talk about that. So we want to make sure that we're doing a grounding and clearing practice daily, and it doesn't have to take very long. I'm going to do one with you in a minute. 2 to 5 minutes. You can probably do it in less if you want to. I'm going to take a little bit longer today, because probably about 5 minutes today, just so that you can see. We want to make sure we don't want to rush through meditation. We don't want to rush through grounding and clearing. We want to make sure that we're present in it, because we do want to be feeling into it. So even though it's true that setting an intention to clear your field, you can take a deep breath and just set the intention to clear your field out. We don't want to be in the masculine of, it's just another thing on my to-do list. And so, set the intent, and pull all that out. Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? We don't want to be in that energy of that. We want to actually be present so that we can feel what's going on. And 5 minutes isn't a lot of time out of your entire day. And this whole concept of time is something that I think most of us need to be working on, in how much we've got and how much we give to ourselves. And we can sort of get stuck in this negative thought pattern of time. So just be aware, if that is you, to start going, okay, well, how can I, start to bring this into my life? How can I start to shift my perception of time, shift my perception of self-care? If you find it very difficult to actually sit down, breathe for 5 minutes and be present in doing this important work for yourself. So grounding, clearing, and practice daily, learning how to, like I said before, own and stand in your own energy field, no matter what is happening around you. So using visualization practices like in that moment. So like I was saying before with my kids, they start arguing, and it's very easy to come in and just pick up on that anger and start yelling at them, going, my God, can you be quiet? Stop fighting. Don't say this, don't, and get into that whole thing. But, if you can come in and go, okay, they're just both screaming at each other, and take a deep breath, let them go at it, and then come in and with a different vibration in a different way. And then you can actually really open up to listening to them and listening to both sides of the story. And it's also then you're in a better space to actually ask for guidance from your intuition of your guides of what to say and how to diffuse the situation. Because like I said, our intuition isn't just about talking to dead people or anything like that. We use our intuition daily in situations like this in order to help everybody move forward. So intuition is that navigation system. It's what guides us through. And the more we're in that space, the more we can listen and help to diffuse situations. So we want to be setting boundaries as well. We don't have a lot of boundaries, and we're not very good at maintaining them. Most people that I know, a lot of the women that I work with, having trouble with setting boundaries with people. And it is hard, it is tricky. And those boundaries do need to change as you go on your awakening journey, because the more that you begin to let go of, the more you come back to being you, the more you find more self-love and value, those boundaries are going to need to change. And even going back to, with my kids, like my boundaries have changed over the years with my children. I don't have the same boundaries with them now as teenagers as I did when they were 2. Yeah. So there's stronger boundaries in place now of, the way that they talk to me, what I do for them. obviously when they were younger, I'd be making their lunch all the time and being more at their beck and call. Well, now as teenagers, I've had to reset those boundaries because they need to be making their own sandwiches and learning how to, clean their own room and do their own washing. And I'm not going to always be at their beck and call. I'm setting boundaries of saying, well, this is something that you can now learn to do yourself, and, sort of, putting those things in place. So our boundaries do change, but we do want to make sure that we're setting boundaries with people as much as, where we need them in order to maintain our own energy and our own happiness. So we can also maintain by doing cord cutting, reducing and paying attention to what you watch on social media, like I was saying before. And just making sure that when you do feel like something's going on, like I said, if you are feeling really chaotic in your energy, just again, taking that time to sit down and go, what is this? And asking questions about what's going on in your field. So what I'm going to do now is let's just go through a meditation. Shouldn't take more than 3 to 5 minutes. And like I said, you can reduce this down a little bit and add in other things that you've learned from other people that may work better for you. But this is what I do every morning and sometimes at nighttime too, depending on what kind of day I've had, just to sort of set that intention to be clearing out my field. So first of all, just allow yourself to sit in a really nice quiet space. Take a couple of deep breaths and just allow your shoulders to relax, your muscles to relax, really sink in and become really present of where you are. And just allow roots or a laser beam, whatever it is that you see, go down from the base of your spine, down into the core of the earth, right down into that crystalline core, really feeling that grounding. And if you'd like to, you can pull that energy up into the base of your spine, allow it to flow up through your belly, through your heart, up to the top of your head, opening your crown. And again, just allowing a laser beam of light or a channel to flow right up through the sky, through the stars and the cosmos, out to the very edge of the universe, plugging into your source point energy, really feeling into that, into your source coding home, to that love and healing, and allowing that light now to come down. You can see it as golden light, whatever color it is, just however it is that messages and things come through for you. So whatever your clairs are, whether you see, feel, hear, know, just allow that to flow down and know that it's connecting you to the universal energy, to the cosmos, to galactic guides and galactic beings and friends. Beautiful, connecting you into your guides and angels and pulling forward your higher self and your inner wisdom, your inner knowing, connecting into that part of you. And just allowing source point energy to flow down through into your physical body, just really illuminating and lighting up every cell in your body, setting the intention that your whole entire physical body is raising to the highest vibration it can be today. We're going to push all of that beautiful energy through our emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. So sorry about the sirens, pushing that out to a few feet in front of you, behind you, side to side, above and below. Just feeling that light bring your vibration up to the highest it can be. We're now going to set the intention to pull forward all projections and expectations from yourself and others. And you can see this just dissolving in the light of your source energy. You can actually physically use your hands to pull it out. If you're, a Reiki practitioner or you're that way inclined, you can actually physically use your hands to pull these projections out. However that happens within your mind, within your energy, within your field. So pulling out all expectations and projections of others and of yourself, pulling forward all timelines and trajectories that are no longer in alignment with your highest timeline and that are no longer needed, letting go of all of that. And you can feel in different parts of your body, in different, like that for me was all in my back. So that's all just unlinked from my back. Pulling forward all emotions that do not belong to you, that you've taken on from others throughout the week, just gathering all of those up from around your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual bodies and pulling all of those out, allowing those all to fly either up or down. Beautiful. And just allowing now and just setting the intention. And you can do this with the beautiful violet flame, or you can just ask your guides and angels or your source point energy to just flow down throughout your body, just taking out any cords attached to people that are just no longer needed at this time. Just, random people you've said hi to in the street, or things that have happened at work that are no longer needed. Just allow those to flow down. And if you feel that any are being a little bit stubborn, or you feel like some cords that you want to get rid of aren't going, it's probably because there's still an emotional attachment there. So you can set the intention to just allow that emotion to come to the surface. Feel into that emotion. You have to feel an emotion in order for it to transmute. So allow that to happen. And just again, ask source point energy, your beautiful solar energy, to just filter all the way from right inside every cell in your physical body, all the way out through to the edges, just bringing everything to the highest vibration it can be today. And just pulling forward and letting go of anything else that doesn't need to be there. And that's all. And then if you would like to, once your energy feels clearer, if you are having trouble making a decision, if there is some healing that's going on that you can't quite get your head around, this is the space now to ask, what can I do? What emotions am I still holding on to? Now that my energy is clear of everybody else's stuff and stuff that I don't need, what is it that I can actually feel within my emotional body? What is it that, what messages are now starting to come through? How can I move forward on this situation? So that is something that you can do a couple of times a day. And again, you can probably come up with a quicker version than that. Put together what I've done with other things that you've picked up along your journey from other people and the way that they clear their field. You may want to work more with the violet flame, Saint Germain, to do that, or more with your guides or angels, or more just with source energy. It's up to you. Come up with your own practice that feels right to you. So, that's it for today. I hope that was very helpful. I'd love to hear in the comments what you've taken away from that, and feel free to share this with others, because we want everyone to be living in a beautiful space within their energy where they feel alive, and where they're being able to get rid of all of their stuff so that they can move beautifully throughout their day and be happy. So today, just to recap, so we've been through what our energy field actually is, the effects that the type of things that have an effect on your energy. And we've managed to talk about how to maintain and protect that energy, signs that your energy field might need clearing, and then done that little meditation. So, like I said, feel free to share this episode. And if you have not yet signed up for the 3-part circle series, I will put that link in too. Next time we are meeting on, I think it's the 5th of June, and we're really diving into divine feminine energy, really bringing through and connecting into that surrender and that flow and that womb space, and beautiful smushy feminine things. Please do sign up for that. You will also get the replay of this week's or last week's when you sign up, so you can go back and do that too. We went into our Akashic records and looked at a past life that was stopping us from really harnessing in our intuition, but then we went into a lifetime where we had mastery and it was safe to have that and start pulling those codes back to use in this lifetime presently. So and just before you go, on the back of this, be great to ask yourself, after you've listened to this, what one way will you start tending to your energy today? What is one thing that you are going to do, whether it be clearing all stuff off social media and doing a social media audit, whether it just be going, okay, well, when I get into bed, I'm going to do this meditation and clear everything out of my field. Am I going to set some better boundaries? So what is one way you will start tending to your energy today? Been great talking to you. I will see you again next week, and thanks for listening. Bye.